What is up, everybody? We are getting ready to head out on our yearly bike tour over the 4th of July week, and this year we are doing what we are calling the Alt Ohio to Erie. So if you don't know, the Ohio to Erie Trail is from Cincinnati to Cleveland, and it's a combination of bike paths and some roads. I think the latest numbers, it's about 85% on bike path right now. I actually enjoy the road sections because it kind of breaks it up and there's some hills and stuff like that, but that's beside the point. So the Ohio to Erie, or as people call it for short, the OTET, is becoming one of the, more well-known bike tours. You know, people do the CNO and the Gap and the Katy Trail, and I think this is starting to get categorized in there. And since it comes through, my town here, I see people out doing the tour all the time. Last night I saw 2 people with loaded bikes going through downtown Akron. The last couple years our trips were a little more challenging. We did one in the Finger Lakes last year, which had a bunch of steep and long climbs on the road, and then some off-road single track and double track. 2 years ago we did the North Country Traverse in Michigan, which was very challenging with the terrain and lots of little ups and downs and the loaded bikes. So that's why we kind of wanted to return to our roots and do something a little more of a vacation-like trip, have a little more fun, have a little more time on our stops. And so less climbing, smoother terrain and all that kind of thing. So the reason we're calling it Alt Ohio to Erie is we're not starting in Cincinnati. We are going to start in Portsmouth, Ohio. Our friend is going to drive us down there tomorrow. We're going to have an Airbnb and we'll start riding the day after that. So none of us have ever really been to this part of Ohio, the Scioto River Valley. So the first day will have us going from Portsmouth through Chillicothe, and then we'll break off on our first bike path and head over through Washington Courthouse, Xenia, and Dayton. We'll head north for a while on a bike trail through some small towns we haven't been to, Piqua being the last one on the trail before we break off and head back east across the state. And then the last day and a half will have us rejoining the actual Ohio to Erie route, which we'll ride home on. So we'll be back on like our home roads that we know, like the towpath and stuff like that. This is actually going to be our longest trip time-wise ever. I didn't add up the miles yet. I'll have all the Stravas linked below as we go on the trip and I make the video about that. But we will be doing 6 riding days and 5 nights of camping. So, and then that first day, when we get down to Portsmouth, we'll have time to explore, get dinner, and stay in that Airbnb. So I am bringing my Gunnar. I know some people will be like, why would you bring your wide tire bike on a trip that's going to be mostly smooth pavement? And I think some of the bike paths will be like crushed limestone or whatever. So nothing significantly challenging. To me, comfort. Big wide tires are comfortable, the sweep bars are comfortable, and I like the way I could pack this bike, which I'm about to show in a minute. I've made this analogy before in other bike packing, bike touring videos. Someone will be like, that bike's overkill for what you're doing. And I'll always say, like, you don't go to someone's house and criticize their couch because it's too comfortable. So I don't know where the whole thing comes from that, like, you have to suffer as much as possible to ride a bike. That's not true. And that's not the point of this trip for us either. It's to have a good time. We're still gonna ride some long miles, some long days, and see a lot of things. And we have thunderstorms in the forecast, so there could be challenges out there. The heat, it's been really, really hot. But again, we're going out to enjoy ourselves on our bicycles, not to punish ourselves. There is a point, there are some times where I like doing challenging things, but this is vacation. So what I've done here is laid out all the stuff that I think I'm going to bring. And basically I am going to load up the bike and see how it goes and then see if I want to subtract anything or add anything different. So I'll go through it with you. But this is one trip, like I've already been saying, that I'm not overly worried about the mileage or, really it being super challenging. It's not super climby or anything like that. So I'm a little less worried about trying to go as minimalist as possible. I don't want to like unnecessarily, weigh down the bike or fill up all the space. I'm going to try and go with just my 2 panniers and my Swift Industries Zeitgeist on the back, but I will throw the frame bag on if I feel like I need more space. So I'm just going to go around the table and show you what I got real quick, starting with the sleep system. So this is my sleeping pad. This is a pillow. This is a sleeping bag liner, but what I do is I put it over the sleeping pad so it kind of functions as a sheet because all I do is bring a down blanket, and this down blanket is all I have. I don't bring a sleeping bag or anything like that because it's going to be warm, so I just like that flexibility and freedom, so I do need to, cover the pad with something. This is my tent, rainfly, tent, and footprint, poles, stakes, obvious stuff. That's a Nemo 2-person Hornet. There are better versions of it now, actually specifically made for bike packing. My bikes are big enough that I have room to put the poles, but I wouldn't recommend buying this one now for bike packing and bike touring. A musette bag, always like having those if I need to throw some extra stuff over my shoulder for a short ride to the campground after picking up supplies, or just throwing in like power banks and stuff like that. If we're going into a restaurant, I have kind of my purse, you know what I mean? So food, I think I'm gonna bring 2 camp meals. Being that it is 4th of July, not sure when things will be open. And we do have a couple, like a day and a half where we're gonna kind of be out there where there's just not a lot along the trail. These are a couple maple syrups, that untapped stuff I found. I forgot I had those. Cliff Bars, that's kind of like my breakfast thing. And then some figs and candy. Those are just like my ride snacks to keep the energy up. Little titanium spoon. So here I have my sandals here. I wasn't gonna bring my sandals because I'm gonna ride in my slip-ons. Then I realized I do need them because camp showers. I'm not gonna go in those barefoot. These are those model infinity tools that I love. Give me room to strap extra stuff to the rack if I need to, or just fix anything. I don't know. They're just great. They come in so much handy. And I think I'm gonna bring a rope just in case we need to hang food. When you're on your bikes, if there's a raccoon situation, you know, you don't want them tearing up your bags. These are waterproof Sea to Summit bags. I use these, put some of the sleeping stuff in there, put some of my clothes in there. My bags keep stuff typically dry, but they're not perfect. So yeah. Bike tools, these will go into the keg on the 3rd bottle cage. Small bike lock, like I always say, these are just honesty locks. They're just something to keep someone from walking away with your bike. I just bought this one because the one I've had for, I don't know, 8-9 years just finally broke. Saddle cover, this is new for me. I always bring a saddle cover, but I always had the Brooks one. This is by 5th Season, wax canvas. Pretty cool, tried it out. Sunglasses, this beer koozie is for my phone when I don't want it in my pocket so I don't scratch it. And then obviously electric stuff. I don't think I'm bringing all these power banks, but I did charge them all. A headlamp, that's also something I just got not too long ago and is huge because I was always just putting my bike light in my mouth and that's a real pain. I think I'm bringing 2 GoPros, and I have this new mount from KOM Cycling, which is really cool because it's real modular. I think I'll show this in more detail later or maybe on the trip, but you could put the light there, you could put the computer on top of it, you could put a GoPro underneath it, and it's all modular. So it works with Garmin and Wahoo, and you could switch around where the things go. It's pretty cool. Yeah, they sent that to me and I like it a lot. So yeah, the batteries, these are like the cables and stuff to charge. My wallet is just in this beer koozie, and obviously bike lights, bike computer. I'm gonna bring my R8. I'm just gonna sling it over my shoulder with the 51.8. I love these small plastic lenses. They do good enough job. I was thinking of just bringing the 51.8 because it gives just a really good look, shallow depth of field, so you know you're using a real camera. I don't know, you get that. But then I was thinking when we do stops, maybe I'm gonna wanna do some video with that because I'm not gonna bring the Pocket 3 that I'm filming on. So I think I might bring the 28, and this is a 2.8. So a little pancake lens, real small. I haven't decided how I'm gonna pack this. The thing I do need is I always leave a little extra space somewhere. So if it does rain, I could get the camera in a bag and off my shoulder. Yeah, this is the GoPro. Everyone asks how I film my videos. Pro standard mouth mount. That's how I film. I rarely ever mount a GoPro, but since I have that mount, I think maybe I'll do some time lapses or something with this one. We'll see. Get to the clothing stuff. So I bring a bunch of socks. I hate wearing dirty socks. It's the one thing. I don't care about like the rest of the clothes as much, but yeah. A bandana, I'll probably wear one and bring an extra one. And this is some sleeping stuff. So a couple cotton t-shirts and boxers. Then I'll probably bring 2 pairs of shorts in case one pair gets wet. So the only thing I'm bringing for warmth, I think, is this Surly wool jersey. There's some 60s in the evenings and mornings, so I might need it. Swim trunks, hopefully we'll be able to swim. I ride in these. These are wool boxers. Some are Smart Wool, some are REI brand. And then I think I'm only gonna bring 3 riding shirts, even though it's 6 days, because I could wash them in a sink, quick drying stuff. So some just old vintage button downs. And then this, it's a Terry Berenson jersey, and I'm drawing a Endo Customs, and those are awesome. They dry really quick, stuff like that. And then here's a towel. So I need a camp towel. This is my rain cape. I'm thinking of bringing the rain cape, not because I would ride in it, because even when we did Gunk's Not Dead and it was in the 60s and raining, I wore it for a while, then I still was too warm and still took it off. I would rather just get wet from the rain than from sweat. But I was thinking if we roll into camp in the evening, or if we get up in the morning and it's raining, that's when like a poncho type rain cape would really come in handy. So I think I'm gonna bring it instead of the jacket. I have a rain jacket too, but I think the rain cape will be the way to go. I never go without a camp chair now. Helionox are kind of the standard. I don't think, every time I see a review of a camp chair, everyone compares it to that being like the GOAT. So yeah, with my back and stuff, I don't risk having to sit on the ground anymore. I'm too old for that. I will gladly get rid of something else to bring a camp chair with me. So I'm gonna go ahead and pack my bike because I am going to have it fully packed because I'm gonna ride over to Aaron's where Yonda is picking us up to drive us tomorrow, and then I'll break it down over there because it's hopefully just 3 bags that I have to take off. So we'll pack the bike and then we'll come back and chat about a couple more things. I'm gonna miss you, little buddy. So the packing went good. I think I will be fine with just those 3 bags as mentioned. One of the reasons is I feel if I need some extra food, I am bringing extra infinity tools so I could strap some stuff here. Maybe I'll just take that stuff off and put it somewhere. Another thing of note, I've showed a few of these things before if you've watched the channel, but I think they're worth pointing out for noobs. Replacing the cordage on these things with a thick fillet strap really secures the bag way more and keeps it from rocking. And I'm running fenders this trip, but I've had it before where I was just using that cordage and the bag rocks too much and ends up hitting the tire. So I like it so it keeps it off the wheel, the tire, and it just stabilizes it a lot. These racks and panniers are actually not made to go together. These tubus is for like the Ortlieb style panniers. So I have a couple zip ties on there, probably hard to see, but it just keeps that hook from going off. And then I use another infinity tool just to secure it a little bit more to keep it from rocking. So, or slipping off. It won't matter really on the road, on a road tour, but on this, I just do it anyways. And then I kind of use these pockets here for stuff that I want to be more accessible. So food, bike tools, stuff like that. These panniers, the Junior Rangers from Swift, also have this extra pocket, which I'll probably end up putting a bottle of water in because we'll have to buy water, which is super annoying, but it's just a fact of living in the United States. No, I never ride in padded shorts. That's what Brook B17 saddles are for. Bike light on the back, and then some more infinity tools and cordage. Point of this is in case I need to dry something out, or sometimes I'll strap the tent through there if it got dewy overnight, let it dry out, do that with the front rack too. Coffee cup, these are kind of cool. They made these new stack studs for infinity tools. So I put one here and it just keeps the mug from flopping down to the bottom, but you make it so you could attach in different ways. They also have this hook stud. Not sure I'll need it for anything, but I figured why not throw it on there. And if you want to like hook something around a tree and just have that, it's pretty cool. So they've just come up with a bunch of cool stuff over at Infinity model. And they also have like 4-way studs, which are cool too. I've used to like secure a pizza to my rack or whatever to make a, package style thing. So just a couple more things before I sign off. I'm calling this a bike tour because we are going to be on roads and bike paths. It's kind of interesting. I found since I've been into doing bike packing and bike touring that the terms have kind of evolved. I know way back people used to say bike packing just meant racing, like doing the Tour Divide. I think it's come to mean like off-road bike touring more than anything. But now I'm finding it's becoming the universal term. And if you're putting bags and a tent on your bike, people just say bike packing. So even though I think if you're going to go technically, I would say this is a bike tour, but I think the terms are becoming pretty interchangeable, and the term bike tour is almost kind of going out of style and just being replaced, or it kind of means more of something organized now. Like you would have a leader and you pay money and everything's laid out for you. But, I always say this, and I was talking about it when I got to be on Russ's Pathless Pedaled show. Words matter. I mean, we name stuff so we could understand what everyone's talking about. I made the analogy of like with music. If you said to somebody, hey, do you want to go see music tonight? And it turned out to be like flag waving BS pop country and you're an anarcho crust punk, you're not going to be happy. So we do describe stuff for a reason. So you do same with this. If I invited someone on this tour, it would be worth letting them know that it's roads, and vice versa. If it was going to be really rough, they wouldn't want to take a traditional touring bike on narrowish tires. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. I've always said I like using the term bike camping because then it just covers all the bases and no one gets mad about it. But words matter, but don't be a Nazi about them or a jerk about them, because someone always in the comments will be like, it doesn't matter, just ride your bike. And it's like, no, you need to know what we're talking about. That's why we have language. So another thing, let me know what you think of my setup. What would you do differently, or just how do you do it in general? Also be nice about that. Like, everyone could pack and bring what they want and tour the way they want to. Also, different bikes handle differently. Some people will always be like, why'd you put all that weight on the front? This bike handles really good with the low riders on especially smooth surfaces. But yeah, let me know what you would do differently. I'm already going to be on the road, so I'll be interested in what you have to say, but it won't actually affect what I'm doing on this trip. What you just saw is what's happening. So another thing too is I know someone will comment like, oh, you came through my town, you should have hit me up, or I would have loved to join you guys on this. This is a trip where we don't join anyone or really let anyone know exactly what we're doing till after, because like I said, this is our vacation. And the analogy I've always made is, us group of friends close friends had rented a beach house. People from the internet would not assume that they would come join us at that beach house. That being said, I do like meeting up with people, and we do a big, I guess our flagship meetup takes place in March. And then Chris FYB just planned one in Pittsburgh. I ended up having to work and couldn't go. But so we do meetups. And also, if you're riding through on Ohio to Erie, hit me up. I have a normal life like anyone else. I can't always join people, but I do when I can, even if it's just like heading down to one of the breweries for a drink or dinner or riding a few miles. So yeah, this is not to say that I don't want to meet up and meet people, but this trip is not that one. So I'm excited to hit the road. I'm really not looking forward to the ride down there. I think we're going to be very cramped with a lot of people and a lot of gear, but I'm looking forward to being there, to hopefully getting decent weather to explore Portsmouth a little bit the first night we're there, and just to see all this new stuff, whether I ever want to go back again or not to some of these areas. I'm kind of going to be scoping out as we get towards Chillicothe, because there's a lot of ancient history there with the mounds and the mound building people. So Hopewell is kind of the term they use to describe it, but we don't know all that much about the culture. So I don't know. So maybe it'll be a place I want to go back to and spend more time photographing, but really looking forward to the trip. Like I said, we're doing something a little bit similar, but a little bit different because the place is what we'll be at. So that's going to do it for this one. The next video should actually be the trip video, because this will come out when I'm gone, and then I'll have a day before I get my Monday video out when we get back. So I will see you then. No live stream, obviously. This is coming out on Monday. There won't be a live stream on Tuesday because I'll be riding my bike. See you in the next one. Peace.